It's on? Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Newman Show. You got Mike with me again tonight.
How's everybody doing?
And Will is our special guest.
What's up, guy?
And we're going to be talking about Endgame mainly, but we will go into other comic stuff and find out which comic female is the easiest, I guess. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Just want to say thanks to Teresa for coming in last week. Of course, she can't do this regularly anymore, which is why the Newman Show is in effect. And before we get started, I just want to give a shout out because today is Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
A lot of people confuse what the day is, and some people get offended by that. Veterans Day and Memorial Day are two very different holidays, but to me, every day should be Veterans Day. You should always thank your veterans and the people that died for this country, because without that, we wouldn't have anything.
Yeah, so, no, but as a veteran, it's people do thank you when they find out,
Yes.
Oh, man, heard you serve. Thanks, so much. Even at your last gig, what's one of the comics, I was talking to him, and he's like, oh, thanks for your service or whatever. I just found out, I was a veteran and a firefighter and everything else. But Memorial Day, these are guys that we never know. These are faceless people, their names on a stone in Arlington.
I always thought it was weird when people said, like, Happy Memorial Day. I understand where it's coming from. There's no offense meant by it, but it's just weird. It's not like you're going to say Happy Funeral to somebody.
Right, right. I mean, these are people who gave their life for our country so we can have the freedom. We could do this cast.
TV show.
Internet
TV show. I think that's where we're at.
Right, they died for us, so we'll never know who these people are.
No.
And, you'll see it come across the screen at one point, even now, like, as Iraq and everything was going on, and you're like, oh, man, that sucks. Corporal, whatever, 22 years old, the kid never got to leave. But that's it. Then he's out of your mind,
Right.
Yeah.
Today's the day you try to remember that guy and what he did. He left his home, graduated high school, probably didn't have much going on, decided to go into the Marines or whatever, and, gave his life fighting for this country.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the veterans don't get enough when they come home either, which is
Oh,
going to be a
certainly
show
not, yes,
I'm going to
yes.
work on, because there's way too many homeless veterans and veterans without health care.
And the VA's pathetic.
It is.
As somebody who has tried it back when I had no insurance.
I don't even want to start going off on this
home.
rant now, because we'll spend an hour on that. But yeah, that will be a show soon.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to you about that, because I have some ideas for people to be on.
I'm not like, I'm a total support of anyone in the Army, but I'm too out of shape to even be in the KISS Army, apparently.
You got kicked out of the KISS Army.
Yeah.
They're like, thanks for your application, but lose a few pounds. Next time, don't add a picture.
I was told I was not made for loving you, but what can you do? But yeah, I was watching a thing earlier on Arlington, how Michael Blassie, when they had the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, he was the one. At the time, it was the remains of someone shot down during the Vietnam War. So he was during Reagan's time. He was shot down in 72 or 73. 83 was when they did the burial, and his sister did research of like they had never heard back from him. They knew that was he a POW? Was he killed in action?
Right.
So they had remains that were buried in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And when they called and she said, listen, my brother flew this particular ship, like a 73 or 37. I'm dyslexic, so I couldn't join the Air Force
It
even.
definitely wasn't 37.
A 37?
No, 73.
So 73, I guess.
Yeah.
And long story short, it was like in the late 90s. They had told her, drop it. You know, he was killed in action, whatever. Or it was called like did not recover. Like it was like KIA and then 3 other letters, like body never recovered, like
MIA.
BNR.
Yeah, he's still missing in action.
But I think it was BNR, like body never recovered or something.
Okay.
And then in '98, they exhumed the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Turns out it was him. Wow. And they but it was to the point where he was the only plane of like the 4 planes that were shot down in that like week's time. He was the only plane that would have had a parachute and a life raft. And when they exhumed the body, 2 of the things in the coffin were the life raft and the parachute.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like creepy. So
See, I never knew that. See, that's something they kind of keep hush hush. The whole unknown soldier is for everybody who's died. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But I never
Maybe
knew
that's
that.
why
I
they
never
kept
knew
you
they
warm.
identified. You know.
He was as far as I know, he was the first and only one ever that, and I think that's part of why originally in the early mid 80s or so, the government was like, no, just drop it.
Right.
I think because they didn't want it to be like, but then when they finally found all this stuff, it was like, all right, yeah, we were.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
My bad.
I got to read up on that.
Yeah, so he now has a burial in Arlington, has his own tombstone and everything. So they took the remains out.
Oh, that's
They had
great.
a proper burial.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, 25 years after
God.
the fact.
Now, if
All
we
right.
just know who's buried in Grant's tomb.
I know. I think it's Jimmy Hoffa.
But anyway, let's get to the sponsors and get into the main show because, as you know, this goes real fast.
Yes,
So
it does actually go really fast.
we'll start with Frank Zambuto and Kayla Logistics. Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority. Our goal is to provide our customers with end-to-end logistics solutions worldwide. Contact Frank Zambuto regarding all of your international import and export needs. Frank also has domestic contracts with many of the large coast-to-coast trucking companies in the USA for non-personal cargo. For Newman Show listeners, just mention the Newman Show and Frank will take 10% off your first domestic trucking shipment within the USA. Frank Zambuto and Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority. And you can reach Frank direct at 347-536-3933 or email at frank@kaylalogistics.com. We also want to thank Day 3 Botanicals, and they're offering Newman Show listeners 20% off all CBD products. Have it your way. The Day 3 6-time full-spectrum CBD formula is available completely THC-free. It is a perfect high-performance CBD product for those subject to drug testing at work. Day 3 also offers their 6 times and regular strength full-spectrum CBD oils with trace amounts of THC allowed by law in all 50 states by law under the nation's new 2018 Agricultural Farm Act. All Day 3 products come with a 30-day money-back satisfaction guarantee. And take a look at Day 3's new CBD pet formula that's available now. And that's going to be helpful with the summer with fireworks going on.
Yeah.
And they have a new massage oil that's coming soon, which I'm looking forward to. You can order the massage oil now to be one of the first for delivery. Visit day3botanicals.com, and if you're listening and not watching, 3 is spelled out THREE. And listeners, remember to use the special Newman 20 code at checkout to receive 20% off on your order. Don't accept cheap foreign isolates. Day 3's products are full-spectrum hemp extracts that are organically grown in Colorado, non-GMO, and free from any chemical additives. Insist on Day 3 CBD for your health. And we also want to welcome Felon for Life Motorcycle Repair. Owner-operator Jason Martin is a good friend of mine, and he can do anything, basically, from detailing your bike, putting parts on, whether they're aftermarket or whatever else.
Or building your bike from
He can
frame
build it
up.
from scratch. He can get
Yeah.
it running for you. Maybe we should talk to him.
Yeah, no, we should.
But
definitely
he's
talk
done
to
some stuff for me. He's going to be doing more. We're going to be redoing a Harley a bit, making it sound a little more like a Harley and move a little bit more like a Harley.
him. Nice.
But yeah, Jay's a great guy. He's got a trailer. He can come pick you up. He makes house calls. And he's much, much cheaper than going to any dealer.
And he plays great music. So
he does.
You can't,
He
yeah.
does.
So you go into his garage and rock out with your cock out.
And once again, just giving a shout out to Voodoo Hound Graphic Art and Design that made my logo. Fred's great. I'm going to have him on the show eventually. He's also a firearms instructor and
Interesting.
very well versed on the Second Amendment, which is going to be a fun show.
Yes.
But anyway,
I would think as a firearms instructor, you'd probably need to know a little bit about the Second Amendment.
yes.
Yeah.
And that will
Especially
be
in a state like New York.
Well,
Yeah.
he's not in New York.
Oh, where's he at?
Maryland, I believe.
Okay,
Oh.
they're a little more lenient,
Yeah. But yeah, well, we got to figure out logistics. Try to get him. I instead of doing the just a regular call-in, I'd like to have some sort of video feed with him.
okay.
But anyway, Endgame premiered a month ago, so if you did not watch Endgame yet and you care about spoilers, we will see you next week. Sarah Martin will be on.
All right, I gotta go.
And before you go, I do have a show on June 7th, Friday, June 7th at Coasters in East Meadow. It's $10, cash at the door. And if you've been to Coasters, you know it's a good time. I know you've been there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, nice
So,
little local bar, plenty of room, good bartender,
Bar
a lot of
food,
parking.
yeah.
Yep.
Now, is this for anything in particular, or
Nope,
just a comedy
just a
night?
comedy show.
Just a comedy show. $10.
Yeah, we're still working on the benefit thing. Unfortunately, it's not going to be in the summer.
Okay.
It's going to end up being in September at some time, but that will
Is it our
happen.
buddy producing it?
Butera, yeah.
Butera?
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Those shows always good, and that's a good venue. Like, you have a mix of local people,
Right.
where that's their bar,
Right.
and you kind of know where you stand if you can get them to laugh.
Yeah, no, last time I had a great one there, and there was actually a benefit, and the local people, some people didn't even know.
Yeah.
So when we went around to collect the money, they were like, yeah, I don't care.
there
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a couple of guys that donated and left because they had something to do. and
Right,
didn't
they were
know,
like,
but
it was,
great
and they
people there.
laughed. It was a great
Yeah.
lineup that night. I don't think I've been to one that hasn't had a great lineup, actually.
And you never knew who was going to pop in there. Richie Burns come in there a
Yeah.
lot after his shows, whatever he's doing. And you know, if you don't know Richie Burns, you should. Great guy.
And then
great
there's
fun.
what's his name? I remember going once. It was like the wild card game of the Dodgers and the Astros. It was like a one-off game, and one of the dudes at the bar who was he'd been there I guess since 2:00 was slightly miffed.
Yeah.
As you'd say that they turned the sound down, and before the headliner he was like, "Can we like he couldn't get the words out." That was one of the best shows
I'm
I've ever been a part of
Yeah.
because
I'm sure he was a favorite of all the comics that night.
yeah,
But
but
this guy,
yeah, no,
yeah, Mike Keegan goes there a lot. So
Yeah.
you know, it's not just the comics that are there; it's also a good, fun place to hang
No,
out.
it was a great,
Yeah.
it was a great venue last time.
But let's get into it. Endgame. I will state this right at the bat. I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was good.
Mhm.
I felt Infinity War was better.
Mhm.
But it wasn't that Endgame was bad. It was just that everything was new and built up for there. And Endgame kind of settled everything.
Yep.
If it was one movie, first of all, you would have been there for a full day. You know, some fat probably could have been trimmed if they made that one movie. But I did not dislike it. There were things in the movie I didn't like about, but there were also a lot of things I did like about it. So
yeah, I feel I would agree with you. I liked Infinity War better, only because I feel it's like the when you watch it, it's very similar to like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Empire Strikes Back will always be my favorite because it leaves you with that hanging of you can't wait to see
right.
the next one because there's so many like turning points, ups and downs, and
Right, he tells him he's his father.
right, but the man gets frozen, Han Solo.
And
You know,
the
like-
bad guys won at that point.
Yes,
Right,
yeah.
right. So there's a lot.
So,
There's
yeah,
a lot
right,
left
it's
to
very
be.
similar.
There's a lot left to be solved, and then there's the waiting period of, you know how it's going to end, but how will it end at the same time?
Right.
So just like with any new Star Wars movie or any superhero movie, if you're a fan as a kid, or even when they make like a '70s TV show like Chips or Dukes of Hazzard into a movie, your expectations versus what you're going to see, there's always going to be a disparity between the two. So
Yeah, it's usually a letdown, but yeah.
yes.
I wouldn't say I was let down like I was with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, and the reason why I was upset, I think they went so far off the story that they built themselves. But that's,
Well-
I'm not even going to get I want to stick with Endgame first.
wasn't as bad as Lost.
I honestly didn't see that.
Wasn't like
Yeah, I'm lost right now. I haven't seen either of them.
it wasn't
but-
like
but again-
Victoria Principal woke up and Bobby Ewing.
Yeah, but you build
a
a
shower.
I'll just
That's
pick one
it.
specific thing
Now,
about.
Dallas, that was a great.
I'll take one specific thing about Game of Thrones, and then we'll get back into Endgame. They built for years how Arya was a faceless assassin. She was the no one.
Right,
She used the face to kill Walder Frey and all the Freys.
right.
She goes back to her family and everything. Sansa asked him what's in the bag. Oh, those are my faces. All this built up about that, and she never uses them again. Really, she shouldn't. Even though I thought it was cool and I saw it coming, she shouldn't have been the one to kill the Night King. It should have been Jon, because that's what Jon was working on for years. Then they get to the end with Jaime and Cersei. I'm going to kill the queen. I'm going to kill the queen for years. And Hound goes, don't kill the queen. Go home. Okay. And she leaves and never does it. The way they died, I thought was stupid, especially when you see Tyrion walk up to the pile of rocks, and over here is flat.
Yeah,
so all they had to do was move a foot over.
They would have been
I
good.
mean, I thought they blew it in a lot of ways, but
Or just
again,
hang out in the staircase.
yeah, that's a rant. I
staircase
don't
was
want to
fun.
go on now.
But
if we
how
got time
about-
at the end, we could go back to that.
I'll say this though: you gotta love. If you're a liberal, you gotta love Jon Snow. That he hated who was going to be his leader, and he actually did move north to Canada. At the end, when all was said and done, he was.
But did he? That was another fake out that made no sense. But again,
all right,
let's
maybe
do Endgame first.
maybe Greenland, but
Let's
you know,
do
close
Endgame
enough.
first, because I'll tell you, if
Okay.
we don't get to it on the show, I'll tell you why I thought that whole thing was stupid.
Okay.
But Endgame, here's what I didn't like right off the bat. I don't think they did Hulk justice. And in Infinity War, he got his ass beat by Thanos.
Right.
Then he had his performance issues. Then here it is.
Both in there.
He's Professor Hulk, and he's dabbing. He's a joke of himself. He's one of the most brilliant minds in the universe. And he can't fight.
Right.
He's making it like, let me throw this. He's a joke of himself.
Right.
And then when it comes down to the end where it's time for him to be a hero, he was made from gamma radiation,
Right.
right? Mm-hmm. The glove mainly emitted gamma radiation. The snap apparently messed up his arm permanently, because
Yeah.
they're saying it's unrepairable. But yet Thanos snapped and it didn't affect him. He said specifically when he destroyed the stones with the stones, that's when he nearly died, not the first snap.
Right.
So again, it just emasculated Hulk, made him basically.
Well,
How could Hulk get hurt like that?
I also
Permanently?
heard that part of why Thanos didn't have like irreparable damage to his hand, to his arm, was because over time as he was collecting the stones, that whatever Tyrion's name is in Infinity, I forget his name,
yeah,
but like
the
that
dwarf.
he made the gauntlet so that it could wield all of them.
Right.
Tony Stark was using regular technology, but that over time, Thanos, as he collected the stones, he was able to build not like a resistance, but
Tolerance.
yeah, I guess so. That like the fact that the Hulk wielded like all of them at once, that maybe that's why. But like
Maybe, but again,
you're gonna
Hulk
drive
doesn't get
yourself nuts.
permanently hurt.
Yeah, but you're gonna drive yourself nuts thinking of like all the what ifs. I didn't like the fact that all of a sudden,
And he should have got a chance to fight him again.
yeah,
You got arguably, and I say arguably because it depends on which list you read and what you're a fan of. He's
Yeah.
arguably the strongest
oh yeah,
character, even not even just the Avenger. Some have him.
he beat
He's
Joe
always-
Lewis's ass.
He's not number one on a lot of lists, but he's definitely top 10 in most of them.
Oh yeah, he's got a son that is the only like as far as like Hulk's and whatever. His son is like Scar with like 3 A's or something. He at one point was like the strongest in the entire Marvel
Right.
universe, but Hulk is always like a top 5, if not top 10.
But that to me, I thought was like the biggest injustice to an original Marvel character.
Yeah,
To basically just have him be a joke.
yeah, but I mean, I know like there was a point where not the Ed Norton Hulk. Like I think in the first Avengers one, he admitted that he tried shooting himself.
Tried to
and the
kill
Hulk
himself. He
spit
spit
the
out-
bullet back.
yeah, spit the
That
bullet out.
supposedly was a scene with Ed Norton that they got rid of. Supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not,
Okay,
but
yeah.
but then they wanted to have Hulk fight. That Hulk and Bruce Banner were going to merge together, and were supposed to fight Thanos in Infinity War, and still lose, not win.
He
Like-
could have lost the fight, but at least put up a fight.
Yeah, but I also don't think that his arm isn't permanently damaged, because part
and
of
the
his
Russo brothers know what they do. Other people write as well, so I'm sure at some point we'll see Hulk back. I don't know
Yeah.
if they're doing this purposely because of Mark Ruffalo's inabilities to do certain things because of his problems.
I think they
because
kind
he
of.
has like a brain tumor or something. So
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
yeah, he's got a real serious medical condition. And if you notice, like as the movies went on, he got goofier and goofier, the character. And I think it's because that's how just Mark Ruffalo is at this point.
Oh.
And if they did that to write it around him, then bravo to those guys for not cutting him out, recasting him, and doing whatever. Because how easy it is to recast in the world today.
I thought they were.
Come on, we've already seen how many Hulk movies that it's been recast somebody else.
Well,
Yeah.
Almost as bad as Batman.
This is the third.
I mean, it was. There's been 3. The first one they pretended didn't even exist. That's why they redid it with Edward Norton.
Right.
Edward Norton I liked the best, but apparently he's a real dick to work with.
Okay.
Whether that's true or not, whether he screwed them, they screwed him. It's the whole Motley Crue, Vince Neil thing. Who did
Right,
what?
right.
They could not work together for whatever reason. Whose fault it is, they know.
Yeah.
But the whole point, Bruce Banner was a genius. And even Infinity War, like I said, why didn't you do that? Oh, we didn't think of it. Shuri was definitely much smarter than Bruce.
Yeah. But I wonder, but I wonder if the Professor Hulk thing, if part of the strength and part of the brains get compromised when they fuse together. I don't know. You don't say.
Right.
But I mean, I thought that maybe they punished him by ruining his arm because Mark Ruffalo was known to give a lot of spoilers
He does,
away.
but
Because
so
this
does
is kind of how they get back at him, Tom Holland.
Yes, Tom Holland,
Yeah.
they said, might even be a little worse. And he's getting the second standalone movie.
Right.
So,
Well, I heard that
Okay, he played who?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Oh, that's the young kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Like I said, that's another one's changed how many times?
That I don't like. But see, part of the reason why that changed so many times is because who owned the rights to it? Because it was Sony, Marvel, and now Disney have shared, and it was the Marvel.
But Sony still, I
there
think,
was the
has,
MCU, and there was breakdowns,
Right.
and different people had rights to different things. Once Marvel took it back over, which is now all Disney owned, they wanted to recast their own guy.
I think the
and make their own
latest is
story.
actually a cartoon, no? Wasn't there like a latest?
was
Yeah,
that-
the
that,
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse.
But they're tying that into this one where, so Mysterio, who's Quentin Beck, in this one is Mysterio from another dimension. That I think in our world, he's a stunt guy and like a con artist. In that one, he's a stunt guy, but he actually is Mysterio for good. Kind of like in DC, how there's like Ultraman is like evil
Right.
Superman,
Right.
So, so in this one, from what I understand, Phase 5 will actually have a Spider-Verse, like live action
Okay.
movie. The fact that they're going to be in Europe, it's very possible that what's her name, Spider-Woman, who's British. It's possible that there's a hint that Spider-Woman coming into this one, but this Quentin Beck is supposed to be a good Mysterio, and he mentions in the trailer that after the snap, that it became like a portal for multiple universes. So we're Earth 616, he's Earth scuba da ba da. So it's possible that happens also.
As far as things I did like that were very controversial apparently in the movie, which I don't know why, I liked Fat Thor. I thought it was great. I thought it was funny.
Big fan of.
I'm
overweight
looking
superhero.
more and more like Thor, whatever. But the thing with that is it made sense within the movie. He was depressed because he was supposed to save everybody,
Right.
and he couldn't do it. So he went to the new Asgard
Right.
and basically just drank and played video games.
That's great.
So
It's
he
great.
was a drunken mess with the beer belly and all that. And that was
Loved
great,
them.
too. I
Loved
love
them.
Meek and Korg.
Yeah.
I'd watch a show with just them. There was a specific scene.
Oh, he's like our average guy superhero now. We're
Yeah.
like, holy shit, that's me.
Yeah.
The scene when
My
they were
God, all
playing
he's missing is
Fortnite.
Pornhub.
Oh,
Thor,
yeah.
he's back.
Thor, this
Noob
guy's
69.
back. He's like, this guy's bullying me again. And he takes the thing back. He's like, gives him the Turtle Beach headset. He's like,
Right.
listen here, I am the Thunder God. And he goes, says
I'll
this whole
fly
thing.
over your house
And then he hands
shoot
it back.
lightning bolts up your butt.
And he hands it back to Korg, and he's like, let me know if he goes back. Thank you very much, I will. But
a lot of that was a joke in a funny way.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't making a joke so much of the character as I felt like Hulk was. So and again, I
Yeah.
thought it was great. And he did regain himself at the end, so you know he's going to get back to regular Thor, I'm sure.
Yo, how did a bolt of lightning all of a sudden braid his beard, too? He went from being
Yeah.
he looked like
You
this.
ever been hit by a bolt of lightning?
No,
Maybe that
Yeah,
was one of the side
exactly.
effects.
could be. But it was a French braid. Like it was so.
That was perfect.
Crisp.
I didn't see it.
I would think that it would be singed like a little.
Yeah.
Like your beard would look like Nick Nolte's mugshot. I would think.
that's
some point.
actually
A bittersweet moment when Captain America was able to get Mjolnir.
Yeah, that
And
was
the reason
cool.
why I say bittersweet, I thought that part was cool. I know it was part of the comics event
Yeah.
at some point that happened. But then I thought the injustice to him was now they wrote his character off.
Yeah, but I
He
mean,
finally got the wheel to give him one more movie.
he had what like a 6 or 7 picture deal,
Yes.
and he kept saying he wants to direct. He wants to direct. I thought they were going to possibly kill him off in Civil War, because I thought it was going to lead into the death of Captain America. Because it was the Sokovia Accords, which was like the it was what was it like the Patriot Act, whatever they called it in the comics. So I thought they were leading up to Civil War. He was going to die because in the Civil War comics, Captain America ultimately turns himself in because too many superheroes are dying, and then he ultimately gets killed. Because they had introduced Crossbones by that point. Scharen Carter, who's Agent 13, they had already introduced at that point. So I thought that was the route they were going.
Right.
But then, I don't know. I didn't like that he's supposed to be 102 years old. He looked like Joe Biden with like Fonzie's jacket at the end.
Real quick, I want to say hi to my sister Karen. And V said there's a petition
Karen.
going on to introduce Deadpool to the MCU, revealing him to be Noob Master 69, which would be great. I would.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be funny.
That would make sense, especially with the handle. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, the X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four are going to be Phase 5. They're going to be introduced.
Right.
And I heard that Jax from Sons of Anarchy is going to be Wolverine.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Really? Charlie Hunnam? Or?
Yeah. Not to go on another great series where not everyone liked the finale.
Yes, no, exactly.
You know what? It wasn't the best, but I didn't mind it. The only one that really pissed me off is Game of Thrones. But I was gonna say.
But they also leave it, not to go back to that, but like they left it where there's so many possibilities.
I understand that.
Yeah, without a
And
doubt,
again,
it could be a dream sequence. He could have not died.
I'm waiting for one of them to wake up and Bobby Ewing's in the shower.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be great.
But again, just to try to stick on point, because we're already halfway through, and we didn't even touch half the stuff here. The transition of power from movie to movie, this one's stronger, that one's stronger, this one's stronger, that one's stronger.
Yeah.
What I did like was, I think they showed the strongest one in this movie, which I don't know if a lot of people realize, was the Scarlet Witch. She's the only one that had Thanos in trouble. The only one. Yeah. Everybody was fighting them together.
Captain Marvel too, though.
No. And I'll get to that after, because I found that kind of weird. But she lifted him up and started separating him, and he's like, rain down hell. Like, but all the people are like, rain down. He was scared. For the first time, you saw him scared. He was done. He was done for.
But she was able to hold him off with one hand while she was
destroying
killing
the stone.
Vision. Yeah,
but she did in Infinity War. She seemed like hot and cold with a power. There, she was like,
well, keep in mind, years have passed too, and they had said that like
she wasn't fully aware of her powers.
Right.
I know there was a
in
lot
Age
of
of
things.
Ultron, she was still like learning her power. That's why she was a danger
in
to
Infinity
herself.
War, she messed up all the Avengers by touching their head and giving them the dream. She could have easily have done that to Thanos or whatever. But regardless, the reason why I say she proved that she was stronger than Captain Marvel's fighting him off.
And then he chucked the Power Stone into one hand.
Before he even had the gauntlet back, he just kind of bitch smacked her away at one point. And then when she came back and was fighting, when he had the gauntlet, which I don't understand, you have all 6 stones and the full power of the gauntlet, and you can't do anything to her, but you take the one stone out and punch her, and that works? Wouldn't the gauntlet with all 6 be more powerful than one stone?
One would think.
Unless you can only use all 6 once. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, because
like once all 6 are together,
it became more powerful each time he had, that power of that gauntlet should have been much more, maybe even more than 6 times the power of the Power Stone.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know where that came from. I'm on the fence for Captain Marvel. I think she was forced.
You're getting upset over this.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know how to feel about
verklempt.
it. The thing with Captain Marvel is
Infinity War was neither Infinity nor a war discussed.
In Captain Marvel, I felt they made her a little too powerful. But again, if they start bringing these stronger enemies in, maybe it'll be whatever. But she kind of seemed forced in Endgame because she was there,
right?
Made real good reasoning why she wasn't around. With, hey, where were you when we were doing all this? Hey, there's a lot of the universe out there, and they don't know how the Avengers. So that was
not
cool.
everyone has Buck Swopes and Iron Man's throwback gear.
Then it was like, well, are you going to be checking in every week? Nope, I'll be back. And then she disappeared for the rest of
Yeah.
the movie until the very end, when she came in, did what she had to do, and left. A lot of people were upset that she didn't have more part in it. I thought she had too much in it because, again, you were
Yeah.
wrapping up the original Avengers story in this. They were very clear
Right.
about that. When
Well,
they
they
went back to
also-
get the stones, it was cool because they went back in history to the points where, in the movies where they all appeared.
They had filmed her. I heard they filmed.
They filmed that
her
before
Endgame scene
Captain
before
America.
Captain.
She said she was
yeah.
very confused about it. She didn't know what was going on.
I heard
because-
they don't care for her. The
No. I thought
cast.
it was Cantita first, but then she's fighting with people that nobody fights with. Chris Hemsworth seems to be legitimately one of the nicest guys out there, and they had beef.
Okay.
So
name an Australian that nobody loves. I mean, aside from Mel Gibson.
But,
even Mel Gibson's loved again.
Well,
he had
he's
his moment,
forgiven.
but people forgave him.
so I can't get over
But-
Olivia and John still.
Yeah, but
Xanadu, right?
you have a family that's been built over, what is it, 15 years now?
10 years.
10,
Yeah.
yeah, 10 years this family's been built. Everybody that came in was welcome. She comes in like, I'm going to do... No. You sit...
But I also
just 'cause
think
you're the
they
most powerful,
also are going to stroke her ego. Like,
right, but
I remember,
just because you're the most powerful character in the writing doesn't mean you go in there and go, I'm the boss now.
Now, did they
Yeah, but how many
did
of
they
them-
ever
And supposedly
explain-
that's kind of what
Did
she
they
was
ever
doing.
explain that, how Captain
Marvel?
Marvel became so powerful?
Yes
Yeah.
and no, to me.
in her
That
movie,
should have killed her.
In her movie, not as much as like in the story, because she wasn't. There was another guy named Marvell that in this is Annette Bening, and I still think best movie she ever did was The Great Outdoors, but that's just me. We have stuff. So Marvell, she like Miss Marvel actually was at the time. Miss Marvel picks up Marvell and like absorbs his powers during this explosion and whatever. So it's 2019. So Marvell is a woman. So it's Annette Bening, and it's fairly
Well,
similar.
actually, it
all
was
the
the
stuff.
70s or whatever.
Huh?
Captain Marvel, her storyline took place
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
Well, not before Captain America, obviously, because that
Right.
was.
yeah.
But hers took in the MCU timeline. Hers was first, so it was like the 70s or the 80s or whatever.
Yeah,
It took place.
yeah. So in
90,
but in
whatever
this
it was.
movie, it's the 90s when it happened.
Yeah.
But it was like in the 1970s or like maybe late 60s, early 70s when the Captain Marvel storyline went, how she became Miss Marvel. Wasn't until I think the 90s where she became Captain Marvel, because there was a dude Captain Marvel.
Right. See,
Um,
that's what I thought. I thought it
yeah.
was always a guy.
And then Captain Marvel in
Shazam.
DC, right? So Captain Marvel in DC is now officially called Shazam because everyone
Yeah.
used to call
Right,
him
right.
Shazam, even though he's Captain Marvel. But there was a Captain Marvel.
And
in-
what they
in
they
the
let
Marvel
they let
universe.
the you have a certain amount of time to like do something like write a book, a story, whatever, and they let it lapse. So Marvel obviously took their name back, Captain
Yeah.
Marvel.
Right.
So they lost it. And DC kind of did that, I think, to be. We have Captain
Right,
Marvel. You
yeah.
can't have it, and then they let it go anyway.
Yeah. So the storyline they're trying to do now is more Captain Marvel in the last 20 years. So because in the last 20 years, even after the first Civil War, which really was the Iron Man versus Captain America and their teams, there was and they did a second Civil War where it's Captain America versus Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And so that's like I think it's Captain America or Iron Man versus Captain Marvel, whatever it is. But that's in the last 15 years. So they're trying to appeal to the younger audience by keeping it more modern stories. Like the first Spider-Man and X-Men movies in the late 90s, Marvel Comics was going bankrupt. They spent like all their money into making the Spider-Man and the first X-Men movie, and they were like, well, if this doesn't happen,
We're done.
we're done.
Tits up.
And they doubled the money they invested, and then they're like, I think we got something here.
Right.
And then they created, in the late 90s, they created what was called the Ultimate Universe, because they said, you know what? If we can reach out to a whole new generation of kids, they can't afford the 1963, most of them started like early 60s. They can't afford those comics. Let's create an Ultimate Universe where we update the story. We'll make it up to
Yeah,
speed.
it's funny. I have a son who's young, but he was right around that age.
Yeah.
And they don't read comics and stuff anymore, but they had like those look and find books, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was
Yeah.
all that exactly we were just talking about, the universe thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like that really big, super huge guy, you know. and
Galactus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all this and all these people who I was like, oh my god, I remember these people from reading
Yeah.
comics, you know.
Yeah, so they changed some of their backstories, but they made the comics affordable to kids today.
Right.
DC waited a couple years to see how that panned out. So like they were getting older people that were still collecting comics like, wow, I need to get this #1. And then they would read and be like, okay, so they would get, writer X to do the first couple issues. People would be like, oh, this guy is a great writer. And then a couple issues in, they would change writers. And that person would put their stamp on it, and people were getting annoyed by that.
Right.
And DC waited a couple years, and in like 2000, I think it was 2008 or 2009, DC revamped all of their stuff, and they said, we're going to call it the New 52. So, because Earth 52, I think, is what we're like they're in all their multiple universes. I think this is Earth 52 or whatever. So they decided we'll do what Marvel didn't do right. So they would have an artist or a story or a writer do an entire year. So you're hooked into that person for the entire year.
Right.
They can't drop that project. So you have a guy like Brian Michael Bendis, who was a great writer for Marvel. He would do 2 or 3, say, X-Men. And so they had like X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, all this stuff. The Avengers, the Avengers as we know it in the movies were called the Ultimates in the Ultimate Universe. So, because then there were so many different Avengers. There was West Coast, Secret, Young Avengers, like all these other Avengers that broke out. But the storyline that we see in the MCU now, a lot of it is based on the Ultimate Universe and what's happened because it's too expensive to. But they still have both universes going on.
Right.
DC has the New 52, so they tried to make a lot of it. That's why the Justice League movie, that's why they had Cyborg in it, because Cyborg was, in the late 70s, he was a Teen Titan.
Right, that's what I was going to say. He
Yeah.
came from the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
But they all kind of went up.
Yeah, they put him in Justice League now because in the last 15 years, or 10 years really, he started out as a Justice League member. He wasn't a Teen Titan for this generation.
Oh, okay.
So they are doing some modifications to appeal to the younger audience now. And some stuff is like head scratching. If you remember the comics as a kid, or even like the cartoons when we were kids, like some stuff is like, why? Because that was me with Captain Marvel. I was like, I don't remember her being a big of a deal. I remember her wearing like a one-piece bathing suit with a red sash on her waist
right.
and a lightning bolt. I don't
Now
remember
she's
her.
like the superstar.
Yeah, so in the last 20, 25 years, she's arguably the strongest.
But let me ask you
in the
this.
Marvel
Women's
universe.
lib. We let them burn their
hold on.
bras.
Let me ask you this. Her movie came out in between Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
If she came out before that, do you think the movie would have been as big?
Which movie? Her movie?
Her movie, Captain Marvel. Because my personal opinion, because Captain Marvel beat all the records prior, because each movie that comes out seems to do that.
Right.
But I think people were itching, like, I can't wait for Endgame. This fits in Endgame. I got to see this. I think it would have done well either way. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
I think it would
saying,
have done well, but
I don't think it would
also,
have done as well. I don't think it would have been a billion-dollar movie that
No.
easily.
I mean, it came out in March. March is Women's History Month.
They
so
definitely
I think,
did that. Brie was out there,
Yeah.
doing her I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar thing, which definitely brings people into the movies.
and it's totally
and that's
impartial because
fine,
it's three
you know.
guys sitting here talking about it.
But
so we're totally covering every perspective
Yeah.
right now.
But and again, I'm fine with that. There's nothing wrong with having a strong female character because
Mm-hmm.
women, bitch, they never have one. But yet,
But what about Wonder Woman?
Right. But when Wonder Woman came out, they've never been a strong female lead. But what about
Right.
What about Princess Leia?
Yeah,
Right.
it's been around. What about the humans?
The Bionic Woman. Come on,
Jamie.
there's been plenty.
Well, what about go back to like the Terminator with Sarah Connor?
Sarah
She was just a
Connor.
mom trying to protect the son. She was beating futuristic
Charlie's
robots.
Angels. I loved watching those tough women.
Ripley.
The tougher they got, the more I.
Alien.
Heart to heart.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
It wasn't just Mr. Hart and his
you're-
wife.
If you're just taking the movies, there's been very, very strong female leads in movies throughout the years. Even video game
Debbie
things.
Does Dallas.
Yes.
She was tough as hell.
She beat a whole football team.
She
I heard.
did. I was going to say she took the football team all by herself.
From
but-
what I remember, yeah. I think she even got the quarterback.
Attack of the 50-foot woman.
There we go.
The Fifth Element.
Daryl Hannah?
Yeah, The Fifth
there's plenty of
Element.
movies where
That was a
the
big
woman
bada
was the
boom.
strongest character.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
Hello, Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Nightmare on
No,
Elm Street.
no.
Halloween.
It's
Yeah,
usually
but the killer and the hero were both women. Fatal Attraction.
right. So again, there's been the
Shrek?
point is there's been plenty of strong female leads out there. Did
Crying
she
Game?
need to be?
well,
Sleepaway Camp?
Do I think feminism overpowered her a little bit for Captain Marvel? Yeah, because again,
Trans-America?
here's this one with just
It's a
Kree
female
blood.
playing a guy that wants to be a female.
Tootsie.
She's a human.
Tootsie.
All right, we're getting off the steer the ship back, guys. Come on. You got a human.
Ah, Barbarella. Another good one.
Oh my God!
You got a human
yes.
Thank
with
you,
Kree blood.
Duran Duran.
A human
Barbarella
with
was
Kree
great.
blood.
But
She
Duran
kicked
Duran got
ass.
their.
So we're not talking about Endgame anymore?
No, we are.
You got a
yeah.
human with Kree
No,
blood.
it's an 80s jam.
Takes a blast.
Dance
We'll get to
into
that.
the fire.
But explain to me how a
Yeah.
human with Kree blood takes a blast from an Infinity Stone. It doesn't kill her.
A woman with Kree blood takes a blast and
A human.
a human.
Because she was just a human. She was.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, if you're going to do the story right, you got to at least make her a metahuman. She can't just be a normal
Wait,
person.
No, you said a human with you lost.
Kree blood. Because she
She was with Apollo Creed.
Yes. Not Creed. Kree.
She was with Adonis because
okay.
this is the modern.
Well, the cool thing is, you seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
I have.
Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel meld with each other because
Oh, okay.
she was
I
part of
didn't
the
know that.
Krees.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
And
I kind of like
I-
Apollo
what-
Creed better.
and the Nova Corps.
did they find
No,
her? Like, why did she get the Kree blood? I forget.
Because Marvel was a Kree, and as she picked up Marvel,
That-
she
it
absorbed
absorbed.
the.
Oh, she
okay.
absorbed it from
'Cause all of a
that.
sudden the blood
But then she
turned
took
gray
the full
or-
blast of the stone, which really a human's not supposed to be able to take without it killing him. But she got the power from that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why they're saying, oh, she's the most powerful because she got the power from the stone. Vision, who was probably one of the weakest characters in Infinity War.
V says metahumans are DC property.
Rob said, to
all
Wong
right.
Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
Oh my God! Yes, that was a great one.
Mommy Dearest,
There we go. Yeah.
lest we forget
I
Mother's
still
Day
don't
and
use wire hangers to this day.
Psycho,
Yeah.
Mother called all the shots.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back.
I tried to get it back, girls.
No,
they
let's
they
get
just
it
going on
back.
this
Let's-
women-hating thing. I'm
It's
sorry.
not women
I gotta
hating.
apologize.
I don't hate women
I
at
love
all.
every inch of women,
I don't hate women at all.
especially except for this part.
Another thing that I want to say that was an issue, because if they didn't make it an issue, it wouldn't have been one. Everyone was asking, why didn't anyone just cut off Thanos' arm in Infinity War?
Right.
Because
That was answered
Doctor
5 minutes
Strange-
into this one.
did it
Right,
with
the
I
sling
can't think
ring.
of his name. The big
Oh, I
Thanos
don't
shows
know,
the big guy.
Yeah.
He cut off the arm, and they were saying, well, Thor.
That dude who had an arm like Scorpion in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's a chain on his arm. Get over here!
Oh, that's great.
Like, cut his arm
That's
off,
awesome.
Even though Thor threw Stormbreaker into him, they were saying like Thanos' skin was impenetrable and all that. And right in the beginning of the movie, not only does he cut off his arm, he cuts his head off. So much for that.
Yeah, he said you should have gone for the head. But I heard that the Russo brothers, I think it was the Russo brothers or whoever, they didn't write this one, but maybe it was the one who wrote it, that in between Infinity War and the filming of this, they talked to like a ton of fans about what were things that you liked in the comics, what's something that you haven't seen yet. And a lot of people had said, why didn't he go for the head? Like, can you replay one where, why didn't Doctor Strange go for the arm? So that's why they put both of those in, that they took off the arm and the head, that that they had never gotten the point where, since it's Captain America's last movie, that Captain America never said Hail Hydra, and then they get that in a part.
Right.
Like, there were certain things that they said they did that
Well, no, in
as a
Infinity
nod
War,
to
he said
like
he did
super
say you
fans.
should have gone for the head.
Yeah, but that was something that was going to haunt Thor. Like, he
Right.
shouldn't have. Why didn't he go for the head?
Right. But I did like they did go back into time, and it was funny. And Captain America had a fight. So today's Captain America had a fight with Captain America from then. And the older Captain America was beating the
Funny.
shit out of him.
Whatever I goes. Personally, I like Captain Carvel, as do I.
And his sidekick Cookie Puss.
Yes.
Well, he said Cookie Puss was the bad guy in that movie.
Okay.
Only to be
I thought it was
revealed-
Fudgy the Whale, but
Only to be
I thought Fudgy
revealed
was the bad guy.
that Cookie Puss turned out to be wearing a mask like Arya. It was his evil twin, Cookie Opus.
Cookie.
But anyway, since we are running out of time, let's fast forward to the end.
Sorry.
They all come in to save the day.
When does the greatest American hero come in?
Well, Howard the Duck was there.
Was it really?
Yeah. But Doctor
Howard
Strange,
Induction?
all the portals start coming in, all the good guys start coming in.
Greatest American hero. William
Why
Cott.
not? I mean, if you're
William
gonna have
Cott,
Howard
you
the
might as
Duck.
well.
Dude, they should remake that. I'd
Like,
go
how
see
is it?
without
How is
a
it that
doubt.
Guardians of the Galaxy never came across Mork?
Right. I think I heard Groot say "nanu nanu" once.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, "I am Groot," and then they went Shazbot.
Right. Exactly.
So there was another touching scene between Peter Parker and Iron Man,
Yep.
where he was explaining. He's like, basically saying during that time when after the snap.
Sorry. I'm still having it. I was imagining William Cott trying to fight any of them.
With that 80s
Like,
blonde fro.
hold on. Like he brought his, because remember,
I'm trying to wrap up Endgame. I'm sorry.
everything always happened on a field trip with
Right.
the sweat hogs, not the sweat hogs, but like the equivalent of sweat hogs. Like I can imagine them like, all right, kids, we're going on a school trip today to Saturn's moon,
Right.
Titan, and like there's some shit going on in the back. Like, what is that? All right, kids, stay here. I'm gonna go get help. The next thing you know, you see his blonde perm just stay
Well,
right
and
over
he
them.
crashes because he can't fly for shit. That was one of my favorite shows growing up.
Yeah.
But to get back to I was at the most serious moment of the movie
Sorry. What?
with Iron Man and Spider-Man having their little heart
A
to
little
heart.
intimate moment.
Oh, when he first comes out of the snap, where he's like,
Yeah, but he's explaining to him how
Dr. Strange. All of a sudden, I woke up and Dr.
he
Strange
woke
said,
me up and he goes, "We got to go now."
Yeah.
So that means they were all in another plane of existence
Was that you
for the
once
whole time,
saw
where they
you
were
happened to
aware
see
of
that?
it.
No, he said he had this. No, he said he fell asleep when he woke up. He didn't say he was dreaming. He said when he woke up. So when they woke up, they
No,
were
no,
back
I didn't
on
say they
time.
were dreaming, but I'm saying they were wherever they were because Doctor Strange told him it's time to go. We got to go save them.
Yeah, they went. They when the snap happened, when Hulk snap happened, they went back to Titan where they had turned to ash. So Doctor Strange knew he was going to have to transport everybody. That's what I
Okay.
think.
Oh,
All right,
that's
I didn't take it that way.
makes
I
sense.
just-
Like wherever you
Okay.
turn to ash, that's where you would go back.
I took it as that they were in this other plane of existence
like the
all the
soul
time,
world?
and the Hulk snap brought him back.
It could be.
All right, so,
If they
because your
were-
way makes more sense.
'cause if they were in the
So
soul
then I was
world-
going to say, technically, Thanos and his whole army are still just
Yeah.
wherever.
Yeah, because I think if they were trapped in the soul world, they would have seen at some point when they went to Vormir, who keeps the soul stone. Unless Vormir is not the soul world, if that's just another dimension, I don't know.
I did have a question that I don't know if you could answer when
Probably not.
when they went back into
I
time.
might.
And again, whenever you go do
'Cause I'm
time
still thinking
travel
about
in a
the Great
movie,
American Hero.
they always mess things up.
Sorry.
Time travel is never going to be fully explained in a movie correctly
Right.
without some type of issue. But they only had so much serum to go back.
Right.
How the hell did Thanos get into the future with his entire army?
Light speed, I think. I don't know. I would think like
But
he's
you
gotta
understand what I'm saying? Like, oh
Yeah.
shit! Like we gotta find more pin particles. Let's
Yeah.
go back. We only got one shot, so let's go back to here where we can actually get some more
Yeah.
to get us back to the future. And then Thanos has one shot
and he just shows
and
up.
gets his entire army.
But maybe
come in.
because they don't know Pym particles, he's got to have been exposed to other kinds of technology out there that was able to do that. Think of like in the last Guardians of the Galaxy
Well,
where
you did say in Infinity War to Tony, you're not the only one cursed with knowledge. So we know Thanos is a smart guy and can figure
Yeah.
things out. Maybe he was able to break down the composition and make his own. I don't know, but
But
it
I
kind
don't
of
think-
wasn't explained. Like
but
each
they didn't
one's
need
got
a
one
Pym
trip, and then
particle.
all of a sudden you see like the entire Thanos army come through.
Yeah, but I also think that look at like when who was it? It was Rocket. Who is it? Rocket. What the heck is his name? Mary Poppins, y'all. Not more. Yondu.
Oh,
And the second one, if you remember, there's a part where they're traveling and they move so fast that their eyeballs are like falling off.
right.
So-
Okay.
that they're traveling
They
through
went
dimensions.
Yeah.
Exactly. It wasn't Lightspeed. It was a Cuisinart on that plane.
She went from suck to blow.
So, Spaceball. There goes the planet.
Yeah. Oh,
Really cool thing I liked. I told you prior, I thought my favorite thing was when Thor was with the Guardians of the Galaxy in Infinity War.
Yeah.
So the fact that he ended up with them at the end of the movie, I thought was great.
Yep.
And he even mentioned as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right, which supposedly is a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that till
I don't
after
know.
the fact. But what I thought was great was with him and Peter Quill. When
Oh, who's
Peter
gonna be
Quill's
captain?
looking and he just Thor's going over, he's like, no, this is my ship. He goes, yeah, I know, just helping you. And then just going back and forth. He goes, yeah, but yeah, I know. And like, you guys should fight to the death. And Thor's like, eh. And he's like, no, we shouldn't fight to
Yeah.
the death. Use knives. Yeah,
There's
no.
only one captain, of course.
Of course.
Which is me. No,
Yes.
yeah, it's you. It's you.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
That was great. I think they all have great chemistry, and I'm really hoping that wasn't just a tease, and that
No.
Thor is part of Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, so I saw today that there is that for Phase 4, because Phase 3 ends with Spider-Man Far From Home. So there's going to be 2 more Spider-Man movies after Far From Home. There's the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 he is in. There is going to be one called The Mighty Thor. Whether it's him...
I'm not done with Thor yet. They need more Thor movies.
Yeah. So there's going to be one called Mighty Thor. There's going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy on top of that. This third one's supposed to have more of Rocket's backstory.
Well, aren't they they're searching for Gamora at this point, right?
Yeah, but he's gonna come across the creator who made him, and then there's like a squirrel or something that's his. I think it's a squirrel. That's like his love interest in this. That they're gonna come across, but was also experimented on like he was.
Rocket's one of my favorite characters,
I
too.
agree.
Yeah,
he's
I didn't
fun.
even know. Like I knew of Drax and what the heck, Moondragon. Moondragon is his daughter.
Okay.
Moondragon is in the original Infinity War, but Peter Quill isn't. I don't remember Gamora being in it. So it's going to be interesting that Drax is they're going to do a little more storylines behind them. So we're going to see, most likely we'll see Moondragon at some point, because Drax does see that his family is alive in some aspect of it. But they will do another Thor movie down the road called The Mighty Thor. They're going to have, supposedly, in the next
There's
Spider-Man.
some of these characters they still need to. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. was the original one, the Iron
Yeah.
Man story. At least his version of the Iron Man story, it was time to come to an end. I think they
Right.
did a great job of that. Iron Man as a character could still live on, which could be why that kid was there at the end.
Morgan. Yeah, well, they are going to do a Young Avengers,
Yeah.
which would be Morgan. It could be Moondragon. They may have, what the heck, is it Stars and Stripes? The kid that's kind of like Captain America, but not. That supposedly he may be Falcon's son that we haven't seen yet, that will become Stars and Stripes. And then they said how they're going to do the show, Wanda and Vision, as well as Winter Soldier and Falcon, that those 4 will have their own shows on the Disney Plus channel.
Yeah, and they're
But
using
they
the
will-
actual actors from the movies
Yeah.
in there, which is
Oh,
great.
really?
But they're
Loki's gonna
also
have his own
going.
show.
They're also going to be in the movies as well. So their TV show is not going to stop them from doing the movies.
I was a little.
great.
I know Black Widow's getting the origin movie, but I would like
Right.
to see her around for a little longer because I don't think she got enough. I don't think Hawkeye got enough. To be fair, I mean they were always kind of background
I don't like
characters.
Hawkeye.
But
I
he's,
did.
he's a marksman. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
there's
But then
nothing
again,
special about the guy.
if he's part of that, if they do go back to Budapest or however they said it,
Yeah.
that would be kind of cool to see what was going on with there, so
Right.
he could get his due. Because
Right.
although they did make fun of him with Saturday Night Live, that was great when he was on there.
Yeah. I'm out of arrows.
No, it's-
just
He's
hang
just shoot.
here.
What do you do?
Right.
Oh, I can shoot arrows, and he runs out. Like, do you have any more? He's like, no, it only fit
But
12.
But if you watch the first Avengers movie, he complained afterwards that he didn't like that he wasn't really in it. Yo, guy, I don't know what comics you read. No one cares about Hawkeye. You're not Captain America. You're not Hulk.
But honestly,
not Iron Man.
what
Who cares?
was Iron Man a big deal before the movie? I don't remember the comic being that big when I was young.
I don't
and
know.
he became the biggest.
All I'm saying
throughout the
is,
entire Marvel
all I'm saying is,
universe.
I've never heard the song Hawkeye by Black Sabbath.
There you go.
All right, but I've never heard.
Can he
Maybe
shoot
by
those
Weezer.
bows?
Yeah.
Do they have one by Hawkeye?
No,
Oh. No, but he didn't like how his character was written, so that's why in the Age of
I would
Ultron,
like to see more of Scarlet Witch too.
Yeah, but I think that's what the WandaVision will be.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if when they eventually get to Phase 5 with X-Men, that she's in it as one of the leaders. That they might not necessarily have Storm.
When I'm saying I
or
want to see more of
Cyclops.
them, I want to see more on the big screen. I was hoping Loki would come back.
Yeah,
He
could.
did. He
could.
technically was in the movie, and they did have the out where he could still be
Yep.
around. But I wanted to see him make an appearance at the end because now you found he was legitimately killed off
Right.
in Infinity War.
Right.
Which again, that was just not a good ending for him. The guy was
Yeah.
a genius. He was the god of mischief, and he goes straight at the guy with 2 daggers that he just watched pummel the Hulk and destroy his brother. He
Right.
thought he was going to go head on with him. Loki's not that dumb, and
Right.
I think it was an injustice to him what they did.
Yeah.
It would have been great if that wasn't really Loki, like it wasn't in all the other movies, or he had some way out of it.
But we'll see with Far From Home if it's true that that snap opened up a lot of dimensions. It'll be interesting to see if they do bring characters back or not,
Yeah,
and they can use that
because
as
technically
the
Loki used the stone to escape,
right.
so he is around, just like Gamora's around now.
Right. Well, they also said the old Captain America lived out his life in another dimension with Peggy Carter.
Yes, technically she is Magneto's daughter, but I think they rewrote that in the movie, so I don't think she is.
It's not that they rewrote it. They legally can't use the word mutant or X-Men because 20th Century
But
Fox
didn't they give her
owns the rights.
Didn't they give her a different origin or something?
They just said that they're brother and sister from Sokovia.
Right.
They didn't say anything about their origin of Peter Maximoff being their dad. They're not allowed to.
Well, we are out of time. I want to thank Will for coming down and
having me.
giving us
All right,
some
Will.
comic knowledge.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mike showing up again. Next week we should have Sarah
I
Martin.
will
We're
be
just going to
back.
confirm
I
with
will
her.
be here next week.
Sarah Martin is a filmmaker, and she's got a new movie she's working on that she's going to be casting come June.
Are we gonna talk about the past movie we just
Well, yeah,
watched? too?
absolutely. We'll talk
Okay.
about everything with her. And don't forget to see me Friday, June 7th at Coasters, and we will see you next week.
Have a good night, everyone.